Yeah, and it's, to answer question two, the most challenging sports, without question, are your sport, mixed martial arts, and CrossFit. And I say both of those sports because they are multidisciplinary sports. You have to be good at so many different qualities. And the polar opposite to that is the sport that I competed in most recently, powerlifting, where it's this single mode where expressing maximum strength.
Strength, yeah.
Right? Like you need some mobility, yes, but you don't need all the other qualities that a UFC fighter or a high level CrossFitter needs.
Yeah.
And you need strength, you need speed, you need cardiovascular conditioning, anaerobic conditioning, you need very high levels of mobility. You need there's lots of skills that you have to practice to be good at your craft. So there's just so many things to be good at. And CrossFit is very similar in that regard because there's so many skills that you have to be proficient at.
And I'll be the first to admit, I had a very negative view on it before CrossFit. Not because I didn't respect the athletes, because I was like, the whole thing, oh, it's competitive exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But one of the things, I still enjoy the memes and it's funny, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But one of the things that I've kind of developed over, and this is just maturity as a coach too, and as a person and an athlete, is that when you go through some of those workouts that you would put me through, or I would do on my own, where you're almost like doing this CrossFit thing. You're almost like going through this circuit that they would similarly go through at one of the trials or the regional competitions. And then when I sit back and I'm like, fuck, that was a hard workout. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait a minute. Those guys are doing it with 10 times as much weight, at 10 times as much more intensity, with way more events and lifts in there. Right. So I started to gain respect from it when, we get into those deep fight camps, those last 3-4 weeks, and I would do a workout and a hard circuit. And then I was like, wait a minute, there are athletes that do this for a living.
Yeah.
Way worse. I'm like, okay, screw that. So if I know that there's that stigma around CrossFit out there, and I'll be the first to admit I was on the bandwagon of like, yeah, screw that. And and I've shifted my mindset in terms of my respect for those athletes too, because especially the amount of repetitions they do, it's very taxing on the joints, and it's probably why it's easy for other sports and other athletes and other coaches to say, oh yeah, if you do CrossFit, you're going to get lots of overuse injuries. But then I sit back and I'm like, well, how is jiu-jitsu any different?
Right. And many sports in that regard, right? Yeah. Like even golfing. Another single mode. Yes, exactly. That's a great example, right? Golf, for example. How many back injuries have resulted in
I've like a lot of
golf swings?
A lot of clients who do golfing, and they always come with side pain, hip pain, and elbows. Right. It's from the repetitive motion, right?
Exactly.
So it's fun to make fun of, like, oh yeah, if you do CrossFit, get ready for the chiropractors and the physiotherapist. But and then when you sit back and you actually critically think about it, well, doing jiu-jitsu is the same shit. You're just destroying your spine in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And so I can be very critical of a lot of aspects of CrossFit, and we've had great conversations because they have done so many things really, really well and made huge contributions to fitness in general. But there are some things that need to be improved, like some of the coaching practices, some of the ways of teaching, the idea that everybody should be able to do certain movements when some people just have no business doing that. Right.
Well, it's funny you should say that. I'm not gonna say them by name, but I have family members, right? And I'm genetically brown. Okay, it's quite evident. Right? Brown people don't have the best fitness genetics. I hate to admit, this is something we have to admit, guys. We are designed for not athletic things. So I have these people in my family who, they gravitated towards CrossFit because maybe they live in a smaller town and that's what they had available. And they gave the community and they're exercising. That's great.
Right.
But my issue with it is when I look at this person, you are not prepared for cleans. You shouldn't be doing
No,
cleans yet. But it's
no.
because it's part of like that the programming that goes on.
Yes,
And then I can see it having future implications. But at the same time,
absolutely.
I have a hard time being too mad at it because it's better than them doing nothing.